Fox News can't get away with just like pure libel. Okay. Someone said, you're going to jail. Yeah. Dog, I didn't even get a phone call from the Secret Service for this because everyone with two working brain cells, even with this quote, can understand that I was talking about the hypocrisy of the Republicans. Okay. Something that I also apologized. Oh, this was the last thing I was going to show about pressure. Media taps Twitch star who told viewers that Republicans were comment on Charlie Kirk's. Hasan Piker was previously suspended from Twitch after the suggestion people should Florida Senator Rick Scott, which is, of course, not the case, as you guys know. And this is part of the reason why I keep telling you, like, context doesn't really matter in this regard. Do you understand? Context and clarifying these sorts of things do not matter. That wasn't even a joke. Like what I was saying in that situation was not a call to assassinate Rick Scott. I mean, it clearly wasn't. So, and it's one that I've clarified as well, but they still keep pushing it. Okay. And of course, the reason why they put in air quotes is so that there's a little bit of plausible deniability. Okay. Several mainstream media outlets platform pro-communist commentator Hasan Piker, who was previously called for people to be on Twitch to weigh in on the Turning Point USA founder Charlie Kirk from a left-wing perspective. The reason why they're doing this is because they couldn't find anything that actually sticks with respect to me, like saying anything even remotely violent about Charlie Kirk. So they're just sticking to the old notes. Okay. Piker had been scheduled to debate Kirk at Dartmouth College later this month, but Kirk was last week during a campus event at Utah Valley University. The two have debated multiple times before at Politicon events. In the days following Kirk's death, outlets including Vanity Fair, Politico, and the New York Times interviewed Piker for his reaction and what the tragic might mean for political commentators moving forward. In an interview with the Vanity Fair on Friday, Piker was described as immediately traumatized after seeing the video of Kirk being, but he went on to criticize the ways people have begun eulogizing Kirk for whitewashing the incendiary, explosive, and dehumanizing language that Kirk had used. Again, this is what they're mad about. They're mad that I have a difference in opinion with Charlie Kirk, okay? Which is crazy. You are no longer making an assessment off of like, you don't have a valid claim here. You're just upset that I'm revealing my position. Like, of course, I was supposed to debate the guy, you know? What do you mean? Oh, you didn't actually grieve it in the way that I want you to, okay? This is not, you haven't demonstrated sufficient grief. That's an insane assessment to make. It's just that I think people venerating a person with what I consider to be morally repugnant political ideology is going to have unforeseen secondary consequences as far as normalization of this ideology, Piker said. We're seeing that in every aspect of society already, and this is very frustrating. Though he criticized Kirk, Piker condemned political violence across all publications, telling Politico on Thursday that he never advocated for such a thing and never would. He added that he feared political repercussions in the wake of Kirk's death, though did not elaborate on which side. I think it's pretty obvious what I was talking about on which side, okay? The side that political repercussions are going to be coming from is the side that has all control and is enforcing its administrative control over dictating what platforms say and do. He went into more detail with the New York Times on Friday, claiming that Republican lawmakers were taking advantage of the confusion surrounding the shooter's motivation to foment calls for vengeance. But that confusion, I think, is being utilized by many, including people in the positions of power, like the administration and many other prominent Republicans in Congress, to enact some sort of vengeance or political persecution of all political dissidents that have spoken out against either Charlie Kirk or even the Trump administration, Piker says. The New York Times also ran an opinion piece by Piker on Saturday titled, "I was supposed to debate Charlie Kirk. Here's what I would have said." In it, Piker tied Kirk's death to what he described as lax gun laws, civil decline, and social challenges linked to capitalism. The social challenges include rising rents and homelessness, the destruction caused by climate change, titanic levels of inequality, and too many others to name here. Our capitalist way of life, always accumulating, never evening out, leaves more and more people to deal with these problems on their own. And what's interesting about this was that this wasn't just about my assessment on what material circumstances led to Charlie Kirk's. This was about the desensitization that many Americans feel towards unlimited violence that they see, okay? And many Americans that engage in ultra violence, whether it be school shootings or mass shootings or even gang violence, as Charlie Kirk tried to talk about, okay? This was a broader context. It wasn't just limited to Charlie Kirk's, of course. In a comment to Fox News Digital, a New York Times spokesperson defended speaking to Piker as a way to better understand Kirk from different perspectives. The Times has published dozens of news articles and opinion pieces about Charlie Kirk after to help readers better understand him and this social and political era. Kirk and Hasan Piker had debated each other before and were about to do it again. They saw value in talking to each other, and they said they weren't afraid to engage in open debate about issues and ideas, the spokesperson said. That is actually a very good response. That's a shockingly good response from the New York Times to basically say, like, the fuck are you talking about? These two dudes obviously did not have interest in doing violence to one another and wanted to do the spirited debate that you guys claim you want to take place. Fox News Digital also reached out to Vanity Fair and Politico for comment. Piker, has openly supported communism as an honorable goal in the past, has a history of using violent language to stream against political opponents. Earlier this year, Piker apologized after being suspended from Twitch for urging people to kill Senator Rick Scott while on stream. Republicans are not tackling providers. They're not actually going after false billing. They are trying to cut recipients. Fraud is not happening at the point of the recipient. If you cared about Medicare fraud or Medicaid fraud, you would Rick Scott, he said. Now, this is what I mean when I say Fox News can't get away with just like pure libel. Okay. Someone said you're going to jail. Yeah. Dog, I didn't even get a phone call from the Secret Service for this because everyone with two working brain cells, even with this quote, can understand that I was talking about the hypocrisy of the Republicans. Okay. Something that I also apologized for as well. This is not like a call to action, a call to assassinate a sitting Republican, okay, an elected. Fox News' digital side is very different from its editorial side, okay? And therefore, they have to show the full quote, which is why, they put the quote within the context. Across X, videos also resurfaced the Pikers using incendiary language to call for blood of capitalists and Republicans. Yeah, liberals in the streets soaking of red capitalist blood, dude. Piker said regarding property owners who choose not to rent out empty homes. Okay. Once again, a quote from 2018, where I was talking to, at the time, a friend of mine who is no longer a friend of mine, who is a landlord himself, and I was LARPing. This is not a sincere policy demand. This is not something that I advocate for. And if it was something that I sincerely advocated for, I suspect there would be more to it than just a 10-second clip from 2018. Anyway, nobody else knows about the Oompaville thing. Hasan, you should watch the new Oompaville vid. Dude, please stop. Yeah, I say in a video game, but that doesn't matter. It's like obviously not a sincere position that I hold regardless, okay? It's so stupid. Left-wingers, liberals, you need to be showing your opponent's guts on there. You need to be gutting them, Piker said in a video, presumably following the 2022 Georgia Senate debate. Okay? Yeah. Left-wingers need to be more cutthroat. Liberals need to be more cutthroat in a debate. Wow, I can't believe he means like he wants Nancy Pelosi to cut someone's throat. What are we talking about? It's very obviously a metaphor. Okay? In any case, they still at least add the context to a certain degree. Okay? At least they add context to a certain degree, but that's not enough for people to run along with it and to go crazy over it. Okay? So this is the best they got, and it's really silly and really stupid. But one thing I will say is the commentary surrounding Tom Tillis receiving death threats was obviously so stupid that even Fox News didn't put it in the compilation. Okay? Because it's so obvious that I'm reporting in that moment about like the discontent and anger that people feel when they run out of options. It is a very important part of my criticism in general. It's one that I actually reflected on in the New York Times op-ed as well. So even the fact that even Fox News was like, yeah, that one's like a little too silly. They just moved on from it. Did they reach out? I'm sure they did. I don't usually respond to comments for stuff like this. Fox News Digital reached out to Piker for a comment, but did not immediately receive a response. I can't imagine this is going to be a story a month from now. Right-wingers have the attention span of infantile goldfish. I feel like the masses won't care about a meeting on political radicalization on social media. It'll be just roaches of the world. Yes. But I do think that this is a part of a broader initiative. And therefore, it is up to the administration. If they actually push for it more aggressively, it will become it will become a bigger problem down the line. Now, here's the thing. Okay? I need you to understand something. It doesn't even feel like Trump has his heart in this. Okay? It doesn't even feel like Trump has it in him to make this a broader issue, considering that he skipped the vigil, and every single time they ask him, because he's such a self-important, narcissistic madman, he literally doesn't think he's involved enough in the story, so he just moves on to the ballroom. Or you find him doing dances at the Yankee Stadium on the night of 9/11, only a day after Charlie Kirk was assassinated. It's very obvious that he doesn't give a shit about this beyond the fact that Steve Miller and J.D. Vance want to use this as an opportunity to prosecute all political dissidents and erode the First Amendment. That's it. So his heart is not even in it. And Stephen Miller and J.D. Vance are not necessarily as popular as Donald Trump. So clearly, this is, it's up for debate exactly how successful this initiative will be. Previous hearings have been a pretext for boosting a right-wing algorithm. Exactly. Every single one of these previous hearings have always been around how the right is suppressed. And it's interesting because it's funny. I think I debated Charlie on this issue as well. The notion that like these social media platforms are woke. Back in 2016, that was all the rage. That's what people used to say all the time. And they used to say that even though Ben Shapiro and numerous other right-wingers were dominating these platforms, and they just still kept saying that. They designed a media narrative that the right was constantly being undermined by these supposedly woke, transgender, DEI, Antifa social media platforms. Like, I'll give you one example. Facebook used to be public enemy number one for Republicans, right? When are you getting banned for sake? Oh my God. Chatter, I need you to understand something, and I don't think you ever will. You don't have to watch me, okay? You do not have to watch me. I don't know why people put themselves through this experience, okay? And if you are putting yourself through this experience, why don't you at the very least see if you can, as a game, okay, see if you can pick up on some of the things that I'm talking about here where you can find an area of agreement. Just a game for you, okay? I know you have it in you. I know you can make up your own mind, okay? It just doesn't make any sense. I don't agree with everything you say, but I think it's important to hear and make a decision on my own. Thank God. I can't believe that's like the bare minimum that I expect from people, and it's just so sad that people can't even do that. They're just like, nope, don't care, not doing that. I have already been primed into fucking hating you, and the anger and resentment that I have in my heart and my soul from all these other fucking content creators who have positioned themselves as antagonistic to your worldview is so powerful that I can't even make up my own fucking mind here. Okay? That's it. Make up your own mind, man. You're an adult. I'm in here. I'm accessible. And it's not something that my position, I'm very stubborn. My position is not something that I shelter people from. I just openly will say exactly how I mean, exactly how I feel. I think everyone has biases, okay? Myself included. And I think it's more honest to openly state what your biases are. Do you understand? I think it's infinitely more honest to say, I'm looking at this objectively. I'm looking at the actual data. I'm looking at the actual facts. Having said that, this is my position, right? A lot of people don't do that. And so many people have been farmed by individuals that present themselves as apolitical, right? People who basically say, oh, I'm apolitical. I'm actually looking at this completely from an unbiased perspective. They betray the truth by not revealing their position. Some do it to become better propagandists, and others do it because they're fearful that you will find out what their position is and you will no longer watch them. Michael Jordan talked about this when he said, Republicans buy sneakers too. There are a lot of content creators online who are terrified of revealing their political perspective, both on the left and on the right, for a bunch of different reasons. I'm not one of those people. Not gonna lie, I used to hate you, but I've come around after your stance on Palestine, and now the hypocrisy of right-wingers who are trying to cancel you is sickening. I am a firm and committed believer that if you spend enough time in this chat, if you actually came here with an open mind, you will realize that you most likely have been duped. You most likely have been lied to about what I believe and what I don't believe. And that's the reason why you have this kind of resentment. That's why there are so many people. That's why this community keeps growing in spite of the endless amounts of smears. Okay? The reason why is because people, for every 1,000 people that see a clip out of context and like outrage farming coming from supposedly apolitical vessels online, there are 100 people that go, you know what? I'm going to tune in and check it out on my own. Okay. Now, of course, there are content creators that have made it their life's mission to actively come after me. And for some of them, it's political. Some of them, it's a ideological disagreement, whether it be the reality that they want to defend Israel and feel bad and they can't cope with that after developing a progressive audience, or whether it be because they were purely spite motivated and spite driven because they feel as though I never deserved the position I got to. Okay? It's very stupid. For some, it's just engagement farming, and that's it. I thought you spent the entire stream shouting at chatters before I started watching because that's all I'd seen in clips. Yeah. In any case,